Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ففروا إلى الله إني لكم منه نذير مبين. صدق الله العظيم. The Prophet ﷺ gave guidance for all humanity and jinnat and the creation, rather more than enough for becoming successful easily, because he was rahmatan lil alameen, mercy for all the people, all the universe, all the creation. So he brought a deen which is easy to act upon. How it is easy to act upon the deen? Because this deen which Rasulullah ﷺ gave dawah towards, that it translates and it changes all the things which we do worldly into worships. Previously, people had to, worship was classed as when they did worship in their worship places and they did certain kinds of acts. But Rasulullah ﷺ, deen, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, firstly, for example, he mentioned that for me, all the earth is a mosque, as a masjid. All the earth has been made a masjid for me. This means that you can worship anywhere and then you are allowed, and your fard prayer is accepted, no matter you are in a desert or a jungle. But previously they had to go to specific places of worship, like mosque was only the place which they had designated for that particular purpose. Now the other thing which happened, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam changed the concept of worship and included it in there, not only the acts of zikr and the acts of prayer and salah and recitation of Quran, but he included in there all worldly acts, all things which a human being, any human being generally needs to do. This was not like this before. So for example, you are going to toilet, such thing, going to toilet, what is the worship there? You are leaving yourself, filth is coming out of you, it's a dirty place, you are doing something which is not clean. One cannot think that how can that be a worship? But the Prophet ﷺ, the deen which he brought, the teachings which he gave, especially his sunnah, his way of life, turns every posture, every human being activity into worship if it is done within the bounds of Sharia, the bounds of Sunnah. So you are working, that can be worship as well. What easy deen can be more than that? How can you find something actually easy, getting to Jannah, when simple thing which everyone, non-Muslim, Muslim have to do, and you only have to abide by the command of Allah and do it in the halal way, the Sunnah way. Your work, 8 hours you are working, you are doing labor, working in the fields or working in a factory, that becomes a worship. Your sleep becomes worship. That is the rahmah, that is the ease in the deen. Your 10-hour, 8-hour work, 8-hour sleep, that actually is worship. You are walking on the street, if it is according to the Sharia, that is a ibadah. You are coming towards the mosque, You are smiling at others also is worship, if it is done with good intention and to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your smiling is worship. Your anger is worship if it is done for the sake of Allah. Anger which is for the sake of Allah is worship. Fighting which is for the sake of Allah is worship. Reconciling is worship. Your feeding the children is worship. Your sitting with your wife is worship. Your sleeping with your wife is worship. You are going in town to get something, a grocery is worship. You are wearing clothes is worship. You are eating the food is worship. You are drinking water is worship. You are running a country, that can be a worship as well. You are running a business, that is a worship as well. Your silence can be worship. You are talking and just actually visiting a sick person, how he is a worship. Visiting a guest, entertaining a guest. A guest has come out, be it a non-Muslim or a Muslim, it is worship. Now you mention, think what more easy way to Jannah it is then. What can be their easy way for you to go to Jannah than this, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught the methodology that everything which you do is turned into worship. Then what is more you want? What is more easier? What is more closer? What is more comfortable to go to Jannah and to seek the pleasure of Allah? If he had kept only 5 prayers, zakah, hajj, umrah, then there was a question. Oh, we have to attend children. Oh, we have to work. Oh, we have to sleep. Oh, we have to talk. Oh, we have to drink. We have to entertain guests. But yes, 2 things are present in anything, then this becomes a worship. One is your intention should be pleasure of Allah, and it should be in the bounds of halal. Secondly, it should be in conformity with the sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, then it is worship. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be able to realize, don't go into shaitanic mindset actually that deen is difficult. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said deen is easy. Deen is easy because it turns your everything in dunya also deen. So what is the difficulty about it? What is the difficulty about it when rather living a shaitanic life is more difficult? Living a Muhammadan prophetic life is easy. In shaitanic life, you have to kill people. You have to backbite people. You have to commit zina. You have to transgress against Allah and His Messenger. You have to violate the rights of people. You have to confiscate the property of people. You have to become a gangster. You have to become a drug addict. You have to become a fraudster. That is rather difficult matter for human nature, if it is human nature. And while prophetic life is the most easy and most actually blessed and most light. So try to live this life, and one of the ways which we teach here, Tariqai Muhammadi method, prophetic Muhammadan method. Tariqai Muhammadiya means prophetic method, Muhammadan method, the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that how he used them. And the Mashayikh have made it more easily. They can train, they have developed a system which can train you part by part, body by body, hand, feet, eyes, mind, part by part. You can even train in there, although you don't need training, you are supposed to do it yourself. But they made it easy. And now after that, if a person still wants to jump in hellfire, he will be welcomed there by angel. There is no less space there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't get tired of punishing people or anything like this. But 99.99 doors of Jannah are open and ways are open. And through the prophetic way, through the love, and actually the way of the Prophet ﷺ. So try to be steadfast and actually we think it is the easy and it is the mercy of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam being rahmatan lil alameen, that every and each thing can be credited to you, is a virtue for you, is a good deed to you. Ya Nabi salamu alayhi, Ya Rasul salamu alayhi, salawatullahi alayk, Ya Habib salamu alayk, Ya Nabi salamu alayk, Ya Rasul salamu alayk. Assalamu alayk ya shafi' al-muznibin. Assalamu alayk ya shafi' al-muznibin. Ya Nabi salamu alayk, Ya Rasul salamu alayk, salawatullahi alayk, Ya Habib salamu alayk. Assalamu alayk ya rahmatan lil alamin. Assalamu alayk ya rahmatan lil alamin. Ya Nabi salamu alayk, Ya Rasul salamu alayk, salawatullahi alayk, Ya Habib salamu alayk. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Allahumma balligh salami wa salawatuna ila Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ila jami'il anbiya al-mursalin wa ahlul bayt was sahaba wal azwaj mutahharat wat tabi'in wal khiyar. Ya Rabbal Alamin, hayyina ala al-Islam wa mitna ala al-iman. Rabbana hab lana min ladunka rahma innaka antal wahhab. Wa sallallahu ala an-nabiyil ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam taslima. Amin. Bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.